Nicole, do you want to say, we got a lot of things, you want to clarify anything in the old chat before we bring on who is coming up next in just a moment?
Sure, just a couple things people wondered about the date. So just to do a quick overview of the date for all you pizza people, the Uni competition will happen sometime this weekend. They haven't really told us exactly when, so just get your entries in this weekend. The sauce-off will be happening today, so get your entries in by 3 o'clock today. And the pan pizza, you have a chance to get your Frico crust on and really perfect it, because you have till May 5th. So get your pizzas ready. Send us your photos. Somebody wondered about if they didn't have an Instagram, maybe now is an opportunity for you to get Instagram. If not, for the Pizza Pan Bake Off, you can still participate by sending an email. So
Thank you.
let us
Thank you
know in
so
the chat
much.
if you have any other questions. Here comes Stephanie.
All right, Noel, who we got coming up next here?
I mean, I can't keep track. I'm still living in the shadow of Rob and Chris, but truth be told, I am super excited about my next guest. Her name is Stephanie. Her last name is spelled Swane, and I've been mispronouncing it incorrectly until now, and I'm going to call it what it is, Swane. Stephanie Swane is here from Modernist Pizza.
So if you're there, Steph, let's jump on. Let's get this party started. Guys, can't be running late. Here we go. There she is.
Stephanie, are you here?
I'm here. Can you hear me?
I hear you loud and clear. How are you?
I'm great. I really just want to give Chris a huge hug. I miss him so much. Such a great guy.
He's amazing. He's amazing. So we have a lot to cover, as you know. So I'm not going to spend too much more time talking about your name, which is pronounced Swan, even though it has a ultra silent E on the end. Correct?
That is correct, Noel. Thank you.
Thank you. No, thank you. Thank you. So without further ado, I just want to say how excited I am, because this is not a prop. This is mine. This is mine. This is Modernist bread. All right. And Nicole, who's here on this call, she has Modernist cuisine. And you were with us last year. We did a talk. It was all women in pizza. And I really appreciated the way that you contributed and your take on things. And so this year, when Nicole and I were talking about who we wanted to invite, I already know that you guys are coming out with Modernist pizza. So I was like, let's call Stephanie. And of course you said yes. And so when you said yes, I'm like, great, what does that mean? What are you going to show us? So I know we have a little song and dance planned, but if you can give us a little summary just to start about, what Modernist, for people who don't know, what's Modernist cuisine, what's Modernist bread, and what is Modernist pizza going to be?
Sure. So do you want me to share my screen, Noel?
Yeah, if you'd like to. I think you're,
okay.
Let's make sure you can.
All right. It's not disabled yet.
Try
All right.
it now.
I think we're good now.
Good.
Okay. So what's behind me, where I'm sitting right now, in what you should see right now in the screen share, is our lab. So one of the things that Noel and I were talking about, and Nicole, and first of all and foremost, thank you, Noel, Nicole, and Justin, for inviting me back this year, part of your anniversary tour. So very excited to be here. Yeah. So this is our lab. We're based in Bellevue, Washington, so just outside of Seattle. And we're about 20 people, give or take. We've got 3 teams that make up the Modernist cuisine group. The culinary team led by our head chef, Francisco Migoya, and myself, running the editorial, design, as well as the photography team. And then Melissa Lukash, who runs our marketing, PR. And then also we have 4 galleries that have Nathan's photography in them. The 3 of us, so Francisco, Melissa, and myself, report into Nathan Myhrvold. Nathan is the founder and genius of Modernist Cuisine. So he started Modernist Cuisine when the book came out in 2010. We have, here's a brief, just a look at our books. As Noel mentioned, Modernist bread and Modernist Cuisine both weigh about 50 pounds each. 50. And then we published Modernist Cuisine at Home and the Photography of Modernist Cuisine. We're up to about 325,000 copies of our books in print. And I just signed up our 9th language this week. We're going to be publishing Modernist Cuisine at Home in Korean. So pretty amazing program. And we do everything in-house. So all of the recipe development, all of the photography. We have a photo studio just on the other side of this main wall over here by our proofer, and a backup studio. And yeah, that's kind of us in a nutshell. I like to tell people we're the Willy Wonka chocolate factory of the 21st century, which you can see right here for anyone that is into cooking. For pizza, Noel and I were talking about this yesterday, and Nicole, we have some original pieces from Modernist Cuisine, the Roto Vap. If you look on the left side, I'll go kind of around the bay like you would tag friends. So the left is our Roto Vap. Then we have 2 mixers, a fork mixer and a stand mixer. Next, we have a centrifuge. Then we have a couple of KitchenAids and small tabletop mixers. Then if you go to the back wall, we've got our beautiful Mara Forni gas assist and wood fire oven. We've got a convection oven, a combi oven. We've got a Capone pizza deck oven, and then we've got a home oven. The reason why we have all of these things, all of the mixers and all of the ovens, is that we actually test all of our recipes in all of these different environments. So we want you as a home baker, a professional baker, a chef, everyone to be successful in the equipment that they have. So we try everything. In the middle, you can see the buckets of flour. We try a variety of different flours. So as Noel and I were talking about, we basically create a database of about 400 cookbooks that we worked with for pizza, and then test through recipes and compiled over about 1,800 recipes, 1,000 data points, comparing ingredients, techniques, and all of those things to just develop the start of the project. Was that fast, Noel?
It was beautiful. I mean, I'm still blown away. We've had like 3 or 4 conversations about this, and I've sent you follow-up questions, and you've sent me photos. So that's a beautiful introduction. Thank you. So what I'd like to try to do, if we can do it, is I know I sent you a bunch of follow-up questions, and so we have this little idea that I can ask you some questions, and you can pair them with photos and answers and things. So let's see if our little plan will work. All right. So, one of the things that I am thinking when I think about what you're doing is you're really actually combining the art and the science of cooking and baking and making pizza so well. Because people always say, is pizza making an art? Is pizza making a science? And I'm like, I don't really think it's either. I think of it more as a craft, right? And if you're good at it, you can be scientific and bring that in, or you can bring art in. But that's my answer. Tell me what you mean when you say art and science of cooking.
So basically our goal is to combine kind of the facts and figures, but make them in a visual, stimulating, and beautiful way. So while I read a technical journal from a cereal scientist to learn about gluten and the gluten strands of gliadin and glutenin, we then take that and we make it into a beautiful photo. So I am hopefully going to do this right. And let me find, what did I wanted to show? Oh, I'm gonna screen share.
Yeah, please.
So this is one of my ultimate favorite photos from the Modernist bread book. So this was taken with a scanning electron microscope. We call it an SEM for short. You find them quite frequently in reference books, especially when it comes to chemical compounds. And so we took a little bit of dough, froze it, so we put it in the blast chiller, and then also did some freeze drying. sort of a couple of different ways to prepare these tiny pieces, and then put it in a scan electron microscope. It takes a variety of photos, and then what our amazingly skilled photographer did was basically take the photo, and I call this the glutenator, or so it's basically very much like RoboCop or Terminator, whichever way you want to look at it. But it's super shiny and silver and beautiful, but you're looking at gluten strands. You're even seeing some starch globules, I should say. So, this is the beauty that I'm talking about, where you're taking a scientific principle that might be ridiculously boring, and taking something that's so visual that you actually want to hang this in your house, whether you're gluten-free or not, because it's just artistically stimulating.
It's unbelievable. I mean, I've cracked your books open so many times, and so many times I've just looked at the pictures, right?
Yeah.
And the recipes are incredible too, and you can learn a lot from, you go into history, you go into culture, but the art of it and the science of it is really pretty staggering. How do you approach baking and pizza making as a science? What are the principles that you're trying to kind of like shine the light on for people?
Well, for bread, one was, what is gluten? What is bran? What is part of your flour? So defining what those elements are, and other ingredients too. Nathan really, in all of the books, we discuss basic principles like heat and water. Same with pizza, even more so with pizza. The heat of your oven is very important, and so is the temperature of the water that you put into your dough. Steam, evaporation, all of these things that happen while bread is baking in your oven, as well as pizza. But then unlike bread, when you deal with pizza, you're also putting toppings on. Typically, beautiful tomato sauce, like the DiNapoli tomato sauce, or cheese, or to the complexity of foie gras. There's a variety of things that you might be putting on top that all also need to know basic principles of just heat and energy and water. So all of our books have these fundamentals, and in different ways. Modernist cuisine went through more from a cooking standpoint. Modernist bread obviously tackled them from a bread baking perspective. We also talk about bread and health. We've talked about food safety, so that if you are a chef or working in your own kitchen, you're making sure that you're avoiding cross-contamination, which also with pizza, not as much with bread, is something that you need to be aware of. So all of these little things we try and do in a very informative but also visually attractive way. We do a lot of cutaways. So sorry, Noel, go.
No. I mean, yeah, but I mean, also I feel like there's something really structured and systematic about the way you approach everything. And like you were describing to me how you took the same people on the road, right, who have the same palates, and everywhere you went, you kind of went through the same routine. Can you start to describe that for people?
Yeah, so one of the most exciting things with Modernist Pizza is that we have a travel component. Because it is one of the world's most known foods globally, that we thought that it would be really great to go to not only places where pizza may or may not have originated, but also to where it's spread. So places that might be style-centric, places that might be big pizza towns that people might not be aware of, like we've talked about Tokyo. And so the idea was that we would hit the road. And I have some visuals too, so you can kind of see how we operated. But basically, we not only hit the road, we hit 250 pizzerias during this time frame. I don't want to count how many calories that was.
I'm surprised that you haven't already. I'll bet you have a spreadsheet somewhere.
Oh, I have lots of spreadsheets. Believe me, Noel. Well, you already saw my insanity of information back and forth, so you can only imagine. So we went on the road. We traveled over 100,000 miles as a group, 800 pizzas were shot. We traveled to 4 different continents, and it equaled about 300 or about 3,700 photos are overall in the book. Not necessarily just travel, but we also, as I mentioned, where the lab is, we also have a photo studio. And so it was very meticulous, as I mentioned to you. So when we first started, we started traveling about 2017, doing these tours. The first thing that we did was we actually went to all of the pizza schools in the States, and took classes, like actually attended Tony Giminani's pizza school classes. Sean Randazzo was the first one that we attended in Detroit, God bless him. And Massimiliano Saveo in Miami, VPN in LA over by you. Yeah, we hit all of them. And that was kind of a fundamental so that we could go and actually, we took the class just like any other attendee. But we also took photographs and listened. For me, it was really important to hear what these other students were talking about too, because we were in a student classroom, just like you know, teaching a class. I learned so much about things that were mysterious or things that people were really genuinely interested in, going to these classes and talking through how things work, but also like beliefs and thought processes too of what they'd learned or what books they read, who they met, all these things.
Now, what was your process when you went to pizzerias? Like, did you have to try certain pizzas, or what was your? Did you have limitations?
So when we first started, we had basically we compiled information for about 3 months prior to a tour, and so we were doing a lot of searching, obviously, on the internet. We were picking up a bunch of books. I actually have I brought one of my favorite books here to my. This is. I've got to take my screensaver off. It's a Gabaro Rosso pizzeria guide. So these were done in Italy in 2017 was the first one that I had, and I've bought them ever since. But they basically tell you all of the different pizzerias throughout Italy, where most people know about pizzerias in Naples, but not necessarily in Milan or Venice or Florence. But this was a really cool ranking of one of the books I used predominantly for anything outside of the US. It also has a small like North American listing, as well as Asia. Tokyo was in there, and a few other places. So we looked at books, looked at internet, and then we started putting these mass Excel spreadsheets together. And then it turned into Google Maps, so that we could figure out how far things were apart. And then it was calling all of these pizzerias and finding out who. And most of them didn't know us. So it was talking to the pizzeria and letting them know what we were about and why we were doing this. And then we got down to a science. It was pretty much every time we went, we were there for somewhere between 1 to 3 hours, depending on the pizzeria. We were shooting their pizzas. So they were making 2 to 4 pizzas. And after a while, we would always get like the same type of style. So when we were in Italy, we always asked for a Neapolitan. We always asked for a Marinara if it was a Neapolitan style pizzeria. And then we would ask the chef or pizzoli to make their favorite. And that could be anything that they wanted. The hardest thing was getting them to stop at 3. Because just like being at your grandma's house, they wanted you to try everything. Including babka and whatever else they could put in front of you, which was fun, but very, especially some days we did 5 pizzerias. So you're talking 2 to 4 pizzas times 5. So it was a long day. We drank a lot of fizzy water. I could definitely probably be a spokesperson for Pellegrino from all of the water that we drank.
Go ahead.
So I'll show you this fun photo of kind of what we did as a setup for the pizzeria. So this is Duncan, one of our photographers. Duncan, myself, Chef Migoya, and Nathan, we were pretty much always the core team. Every once in a while, we would trade off, but there would always be someone from culinary, someone from editorial, someone from photography, and then Nathan shooting as well. And so this was one of the setups that we did in the pizzeria, and then this is one of the finished pizzas. So you can see the difference between, setting up in each place. We had the exact same setup so that the lighting would be exact. So then we could do composites like this. So this is, these are all obviously cuts of different types of pizzas. This is Apollonia's right there. If you can't tell, that's Justin's little scorpion tails.
That's
so
what you call those, scorpion tails?
Justin calls them scorpion tails, and he didn't say that yesterday, so I had to put a plug in for him.
I've never
of
heard
his
that
frico.
before. Interesting.
Yeah, that was when I interviewed him. That's what he told me. But basically, what we would do is we would take a pair of scissors, and every time we would set up here, in fact, we don't have any scissors setting there, we would cut the cornicione. And so that we could get a beautiful slice of the different types of pizza. So the different pizzas here are representational of, a New York pizza, a Detroit style pizza, a tavern style pizza, you name it. But then also it helps us do something like this, where you see, this is one of my favorites too. So you get to see all of these beautiful slices because they were shot exactly the same exact way every time. And these are all shot, these are shot at our lab, I believe. Yeah, these are all our pizzas, but they're all inspired by different types of styles, all with different types of toppings. But because we shoot everything in very specific direction, we're able to do these really fabulous composites.
That is beyond. I've photoshopped a lot in my life, and I've shot a lot, but I've never seen anything like that.
Yeah, they're extremely talented, and just really do things that are amazing every time. Every book we do, it's always one of the hardest job is to how are we going to top like the glutenator in bread. And so every time we have to come up with kind of a new way to look at things, and especially with travel, you can see in this photo, it's not like we have a glamorous setup. It's very basic because we're also traveling. So we have to pack bags and most of our roller carts. And we have to have something that's not going to take up the entire pizzeria. And I should say that all of these photos I'm showing you were done prior to COVID, obviously, no masks or anything. But even then, it was really tough to get into these places and find like the right amount of space. This is one that I love because we were talking to Chris. I had to make sure that I showed this. This is the Pizzeria Rosso that Chris was talking about, which is, I am so jealous, Noel, that you're going to go have this next week. It is my favorite, one of my favorites, I should say. And Chris is also one of my favorites. So this was just a really awesome shot. So this was taken obviously at the pizzeria, but every time we go somewhere, we have to deal with different lighting. We have to deal with different pizzoli and the way that they work, interviewing them, finding out more about what they do, but also just like going towards their favorite styles. Like obviously Chris loves his pizza. And so this was one that Chris wanted to show. But then as I talked to you, Noel, not only are we going to shoot pizza, we're trying to kind of get inspired by the area and also add additional photos that we think would be common in Phoenix, for example. That's where this is taken. So we went out to the desert after we had wonderful pizza with Chris. It was a beautiful night, and we sat out there for, I think this was about 4-hour photo shoot, watching the sunset. So this isn't the finished picture. This is just a behind the scenes look. But we drove out to the desert and just spent time trying to capture, if I was Chris and I wanted to see my beautiful pizza, what else would I want to see with my beautiful pizza? Well, knowing Chris, like the beautiful desert of Phoenix equates and it means a lot to him. And so we went out and, you know, took photos. So this is kind of what we do.
It sure is. It sure is. It's not just a book with pretty pictures of pizza, huh?
No, I mean, I can show you some more. I mean, go ahead and talk to me more, whatever you want me to fill in.
Here's the thing. I mean, I would love to talk to you, but if you have photos that you can show, let's fill the next 3-4 minutes with some beautiful photos and talk as you show them to us. Is that okay?
Oh, totally.
Please.
So this is Pepe and Grani, which is in Caserta, outside of Naples. It is one of my favorite places to have pizza. They actually serve a pizza tasting menu. So it was 8 courses of pizza. And this is a beautiful building that he purchased in this little town where he's really revived the town by his pizza. And this is a special room that you can rent upstairs that Franco prepares the pizza here. And it's just a really beautiful, what I would say almost fine dining, but his prices are still ridiculous. Like his marinara and margaritas are still, like, I think 5 and 7 euro. So it's just an amazing place. We went to the Caputo Mill. So this is in Naples. That's Moro, who's their science guy, and Nathan.
Sure is. Yeah.
I love Moro. We went up to Mimo. It's a Mimo's, who's a Casaficio. So a cheese mozzarella making place. So we're also looking at ingredients. Here's a Chow tomato factory. I see.
What a beautiful photo.
I see Justin dinging the bell.
He's not ringing the bell yet. He's giving us our 2-minute warning. More pictures, please. More pictures.
Okay. So this is Ostagnugio, which is in Arezzo. Beautiful pizza. Carbonara. That was one of our favorite carbonaras. Here we are at a market in Florence. Here we are at the Agricultural Museum in Naples. So we had to put a black tarp up basically to take off the reflection of some of the key things we wanted to shoot there. So we hit museums. This is up north, up where the Capodimonte Museum is, shooting at Nathan shooting towards Naples. These are really funny. This is in Tokyo. This is one of the areas where they have all of the plastic food.
The best.
So we had to go there because we found it fascinating. And then also, like, you would never know that this food is plastic. So this is the plastic food place. And then this is the high-end fruit stands that they have. So, like,
the plastic stuff looks better.
I know. So, but that was, again, it's food related. You know, beautiful. You're buying a $500 melon, and, you know, then going and getting a $25 plastic one. This is the Tokyo Marinara. This was a marinara that we made in our lab, Chef Migoya and his team, inspired by the Tokyo Marinara, which Noel and we were talking about. Tokyo is such a great pizza town. I was fascinated that they have Chicago style, New York style, and then what I would call Neapolitan with a Tokyo edge. Where they have a lot of oil on it's almost like a 50-50 oil and sauce combination. And then they cut the garlic to order for each pizza.
Awesome.
And the key places, Sarancana and Savoy, both just really have a marinara and a Neapolitan, and that's it. Or a marinara and a margarita, and that's it.
Making me hungry.
Sometimes you can get a double cheese. I know, it's really, really bad. And here's one last thing.
This is going to be,
There's that, but I was going to show you. So you mentioned the Frico. Let me find my favorite Frico shot.
Okay.
I think you said it's getting stung with that scorpion tail, huh?
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Oh.
It's a Franco Pepe, all right.
We're all getting
That's
stung.
Franco Pepe's. That's Ceraminic's in Portland.
Amazing.
That's ours. All right. Did I take my share screen off?
You are the best. You are the best, Stephanie.
What
I wish we could have. I wish we could have gone on a little longer. There was a lot more photos and things to talk about, but thank you for giving us a sneak peek. I feel honored and blessed to have gotten to know you a little bit and also seen these beautiful photos. So thank you so much for sharing.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah,
And
Steph,
anytime.
I just want to jump in there. I love the idea of the glutenator, but I got it. Eating all that pizza in such a short time, you and I got to hook up about your exercise routine, because all that pies. You must have a wonderful one. So
It was a lot of time at the gym, I
there
gotta
you
admit.
go. There you
And
go.
sadly, my favorite thing is beer, and I had to spend a lot of time not drinking beer.
I wouldn't. I listened to Chris
It's sad.
Bianco's keynote earlier, and I was playing a drinking game, so I unfortunately
I did
understand.
too.
Yeah.
Noel and I already talked about it.
Oh boy. Thank
Well,
you so much.
guys.
Yeah, I want to say thank you to Stephanie, obviously, and looking forward to Modernist Pizza, everybody. I do think we have some Modernist Pizza, what are they called? Calendars to give away. So if people are interested, maybe, put something funny in the chat. Maybe we'll figure that out. Nicole?
Yes, we do have some Modernist pizza calendars to give away. So if you can put a fun fact about Stephanie's presentation in the chat, maybe you will win a calendar.
There you go. And don't come to me. It's all Nicole. It's all Nicole. Thank you so much, Nicole. Noel, do you like my new background?
What is it?
It's the Modernist cuisine. I did a screenshot of it. Look, there's
Oh,
Justin. There's
good.
Justin's pizza right there. Hey, if it doesn't happen on Zoom, does it even happen? Noel, who's up next?
Justin, before you go running off, I just
outta
want to
here.
tell you right now, delete that photo. We do not have the rights to it. You can't be taking screenshots of these photos. Justin, repeat after me. I will delete this photo immediately.
Let me, I'm going to delete this one. I'm going to put up this one right here for everybody to see.
No.
No, you're right. I deleted that one.
Delete that one too.
There we go. There we go.
My bar mitzvah, everyone. If you haven't been to my classes before, I don't know where Justin got it.
Here's Noel at his bar mitzvah. So Noel, all right, enough about you and me.
You win.
Who's
Justin,
this guy? Wait, what about this one?
No.
Don't you dare. Don't you dare. Whoop, nope, not that one.
Justin,
not that
we've got somebody waiting while you kid around.
Everything's going fine. Who's up next, Noel?